You have to spend 100. You have to hit balls. You have to
Anyway,
hit.
we'll spend some time on that, and I guess our tennis correspondent, the lady, she'll call tonight at some point. By the way, let's say good night to Dodol, our favorite people. We can't forget them, and Don Sims, who's always sends snacks and everything, and everybody else, even the fans of Ozzy. We have to say good night to all of them. Ozzy already to call his fans. Good night to Ozzy and his wife as well, and Dodol and Don Sims. All the people, we can't call everybody name because if we have to call people, we need the whole night. We bloaters in Portsmouth and the Cobbett brothers, Hilary Joseph, all these people, the people in Salisbury, Anne Ezo, Waverly, all these people. So we can't call everybody. But Dr. Fountain, there's something I want to ask you. You, the economics man, everything, and Ronald Lander, who has joined us. Good night, Ronald. Good night. This week on the radio, I heard a comment they were talking about population. And it was said that because of how the population has been, and the person quoted year by year, that building a stadium because of Fiat Lathon's prominence and what she has achieved might be a waste of time because there might be people to really go to the stadium and perform. Yeah, I don't know if you heard it. I mean, we're not there to bash anybody, but I just say I will ask you for your thing. As the statistician here, guy who works in statistics, economist.
Sibo.
Did you hear it, Robbie?
Huh?
Did you hear it?
But obviously, I'm telling
myself. I'm not
myself.
quoting the guy verbatim, but he hinted that you build a stadium now because scarcity of young people, that it might be a waste of time to build a stadium.
Sibo, it shows the level of whatever you do, Sebastian, you have to do for today, tomorrow, and beyond. You just don't build for today. All right, you're looking at the advent of sports today, Siba. It's a business right now. It's a business.
Well, as I say, he was talking. I mean, he was using statistics. I mean,
but listen,
Dr. Pumpkin.
Statistics.
That's
listen. Well, hold on, Ronald. He quoted it. He quoted year by year.
Backwardness, Siba.
How far back?
Well, as I said, we heard him. Did you hear him?
Mr. has no authority to talk on that subject.
Well, I we're not there to bash anybody. We're not there to bash
I don't bash anybody, but people have to learn what they have to talk about.
Okay, let's take a call and then we'll get back to that. I'd like to hear Dr. Fountain's thoughts on that. Because
he's laughing.
Yeah, I know he's smiling. Well, Ronald had that tweet, that's a decision to himself. Anyway, yeah, the caller probably. Yeah, Dr. Fountain, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I did not hear it myself, but it is a nonsense statement. I mean, you were, as Manu rightly said, you're building for today, tomorrow, and the future.
Dr. Fountain, hold on 1 second. Hold that thought. We'll come back to you. Let's take the caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
To everybody on the panel.
Thank you. Good night. Yeah.
My favorite program. I'm calling from Mount Prospect.
How are you? How are you, by the way? By the way, good night to all Mount Prospect people. Good night. Okay.
The person said we do not have enough children to build a track.
Well, I know I wasn't quoting him verbatim, but he made comments like that. Yeah.
So, Tibo, I was wondering if his animals we have going to school.
Okay, thank you. Good night. Yeah, Dr. Fountain. Let's get back to you.
Somebody actually said that.
Yes.
That makes absolutely no sense to me. Yeah. You have school kids. You have hundreds and hundreds of school children. So just on that basis alone, you should do it. But not only that, we've been asking for it, and as we've seen, it only takes one individual, to succeed, to put you at the highest level. So it's not so much about quantity, it's more about quality. And that to me is the most important thing. It's about the quality of what we have, and we need to be able to expose that raw young talent to the best equipment, to the best facilities that we can afford. And that is the building of an all-weather track, and that should be done with haste, I should add.
Yeah, but I'm trying to understand. People who supposed to be professional would come up with kind of thing like that, because I'm wondering myself, but how the guy would be making a statement like that. And then, I mean, what statistics can you produce to tell people that you might need that because of the population of young people?
But Sibo, even to conceive that idea is a level of insanity, of backwardness. Seriously, a level of that even in that day and age, We are not in 1910 or 1810, you know. Everything goes out. Everything information goes out now. And to hear this stupidity when all the islands have a all weather track, and you come up now and you're talking about that you don't see, the reason why, because of, but it's craziness, man.
In fact, when I heard that, I really was wondering, man, what is this, man? I mean, this is real. We have a caller. Let's take the caller. Lobby, hold your thought. We have a caller on the line. Yeah. Good evening.
Antimo,
Yes, sir.
when you first plan for the stadium at Wasabol the first time, there were any athletic track on the plan?
You mean at Kenfield?
No, the first plan before that stadium.
You mean the United Workers Party?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a track there. Yeah, there was some. Yeah.
Was his spot minister?
Yes, he was. Yes, yeah, correct.
And with that, the athlete, you never leave that out. And I tell them fellas that if they had worked to the plan they would have to make all that trouble now looking for to put athletic craft.
Yeah.
That follow the plan.
Yeah, you're right. You're correct. You're correct, Muku. Correct.
And what people will take it in the Olympics, you only know because everybody this plan was there.
Okay, thank you. Ronald,
But it's fundamental that you cannot have a cricket facility together with a track facility. A cricket facility has to be separate from a track facility. A track facility and a football facility can coexist.
You're right.
That is fundamental.
Right.
So on the football facility, you can do some field events. Outside of the football facility, you would have to create like triple jump and those things there. But javelin and so on, you can do it on the football facility. But you cannot have cricket. And I hear some discussion about Windsor Park and putting a track. If Windsor Park is dedicated as a cricket facility, it has to remain a cricket facility. And what we need to do is to create, and there's some commitment, and that commitment has to be fulfilled if you want to develop track and field and football, to have a facility where you can have a football field inside of the 400 meters. That's the track, 400 meters?
Yes.
That's the standard size?
Yes.
Yep. That's
instead of the 400 meters track.
That's what they have. That is something they have landed in Grenada.
That's fundamental.
Well, Grenada saying, the cricket stadium is different. They have the football and athletic stadium.
I know. I tell us what you build.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah. So, hold on, Lobby. Hold on. Lobby, lights are going. Good evening, caller. Hello.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Ronald, Lobby, Dr. Fontaine, how are you doing?
Good.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. To your topic at hand. Yeah. I am no expert in the field. That is the gentleman's field, but I was a bit confused by what he was saying, and then I really thought that maybe Ronald or Dr. Fontaine could shed some light on it, because the argument he was making is that the population drives the economy, and all along we thought that the economy is what that drives the population. We were thinking that if the economy is vibrant, then that would attract people to the country, and that would cause the population to rise. But another interesting thing is said, because I think it was our caller from Nevis who told him then, well, why isn't it that people are coming to Dominica? And he raised the point about immigration and that sort of thing. But for years now, Dominica is a part of the OECS, and there's free movement within the OECS. You could travel from any OECS country. Once you're a citizen, you could travel within OECS countries on your driver's license. You don't even need a passport. So I was a bit confused by what you were saying. And one other thing that I was disappointed in is that Blue called to ask a question, and then the host cut her off, saying that that's a personal question. Because the argument the gentleman was making is that population drives the economy. But Blue was saying, well, if population drives the economy, you have 2 children overseas, then let them come. Everybody else who have children overseas, let them come in. But then the host quota, of which I find wasn't right and was talking about, that's a personal question. And I get the feeling that's what these journalists, when they go to these press conferences with those politicians, that's how they behave. They're afraid and timid to ask questions and afraid to offend people.
Very well said, caller. Very well said. Doctor, we'll come back to you. Let's take another caller. Very well said, caller. Very well said. Good evening.
Yes, Sibo. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Very well.
Very well.
Sibo, we were going to have a multi-purpose stadium in the time of workers. All certain part of the grammar school, and all of the back there, where they have technical wings. All that was going to be the stadium, you know. But then men take it and they dump it in the sea and they build a cricket stadium. Well, we wouldn't have population to fill the track and fill. We wouldn't have population to fill a stadium. But we'll have, look at the Haitian we want to import because for the longest while, a couple of years ago, no, year before last, 2019, I think we start come up with that same thing. And we have influx of Haitian here for election. Well, election may be coming for looking for the influx of Haitian. Have a blessed day, bye-bye.
Good night. But you know, guys, that is why I feel if you have a census done, why is this secrecy and not disclosing what you found from this? Why people keeping it secret? Because if they had released the figures, people wouldn't have to be speculating like that, Dr. Fountain.
No, you're absolutely correct. And I can't understand for the life of me why the government sees it fit not to release. That is a basic set of data that the country needs. Not only does the government need it for its policy, but individuals wanting to do business, people doing research, you need that type of information. And for the country to be denied is that basic level of information just because the government doesn't want to be embarrassed is really striking. But on the point that population drives the economy, well, in that case, why is that St. Kitts with half our population is doing so much better than we are doing? If that was the argument, we should be doing twice as better as St. Kitts is doing. But that's not the case. It's reversed. They're doing a lot better than we, and they have a much smaller population. So, the fact of the matter is this little government has failed very, very dramatically. They failed to build the economy. They failed to provide livelihoods, and so people are leaving. What you have is a natural reduction in the population. It's called a natural, and Dominica, by the way, is the only country in the world with that phenomena. The only country I know in the world where you have a decline in the population because of a natural decline is Dominica. Other countries, the population decline if there is famine or if there is war or there is conflict, people might leave in numbers. But for us, it is because of mismanagement, and people need to understand that.
Yeah, let's take this caller. Good evening. The caller left. But Dr. Fang, it got very confusing. I don't know if Ronald didn't hear it, right? The whole, and in fact, I think it was repeated in the afternoon. The whole thing was confusing to me because, as Dr. Fountain said, the government has failed the people. And to me, that is basic why people are fleeing away from Dominica. Basic. There's no work to do. The salaries are low. People are disappearing because things are bad in Dominica. Let us say it like it is. But I move Dominic then in Patois for people who do not understand English. But I move things are bad. So that is the reason why the population, people in Antigua, probably we have 10,000, Guadeloupe, St. Martin, all over the place. And I don't know why people scared. If you're a professional, come out and tell people exactly the truth. That's how I looked at it.
Sibo.
Yeah, Bobby.
Don't forget, let's look back at this indoor at Massac. That's why they went ahead and they built a thing to hold 300 people. All right. So this track, first of all, this Sibo, what I'm hearing about should never be spoken about. I'm hoping right now you're looking at having this facility. Do you know in Antigua, even in St. Vincent, they build the track first. That's the first thing they did. They build the track, and after they build the facilities. But they build the track so that the athletes can the owners. What you have to do is provide for the athletes, provide for the future. That is the only way you're going to harness the talent. You must have the facility. first and foremost.
You know, I can't believe that someone is actually arguing against a facility for track and field. I mean, that's beyond understanding.
And he specifically mentioned, he said, well, we're celebrating this, the exact with this lady now who won the triple jump. And then he gave his data to try and justify why he thinks because of the lack of population, you might not have young people to really go. So the stadium might be a waste. And I just didn't. And the caller who called, maybe he listened. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but he gave a nice description of what the guy said. I mean, the caller was very good. The caller a while ago. And it confused, all the lights are going. It confused a lot of people. Good evening.
Yes, you know what, sir.
Good. All right, good. What's up?
You know, remember a couple of weeks ago, I told the guys that in Nevis, there's a 9-lane track.
Mm-hmm.
The smallest Nevis, the smallest primary school in Nevis had about 1 year. They didn't have enough children to have a graduation at grade 6. That's how it is. Mm-hmm. The biggest school is about just over 200 students. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. The school I worked at had 77 students. So this thing about enough children, that's a joke. In the facility. Mm-hmm. And it's a 9-lane track here, whereas the King Collins Stadium is an 8-lane.
Yeah, the one in St. Kitts, yeah.
So that have no, even if you figure the population, I asked back my question.
Yeah, I remember you called. I think I heard you call it here. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was saying that the people is what you do. That makes the economy, you know, and that's so much the population. But as I was explaining to you, if somebody now decide to get a little money, invest buy a car and buy another one, that is what they do. Mm-hmm. So if they cannot buy the car, the economy is bad. They cannot divorce it too. The economy to me is the main problem why to do the population. Because as I told you, young people will take to Dominica, you know? Mm-hmm. Young people come to Dominica.
That's true.
Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
They go to St. Martin, they go to Nevis, they go to St. Kitts, they go to Antigua, they go to St. Martin. They come into Dominica. Why? Because Dominica got the jobs. That's why they're not flocking to Dominica. And that's an indication of how the economy is, because if people flocking to Dominica to work, that's an indication. But if they're coming in, that means nothing happening. Mm-hmm. Okay? All right.
Good point. Yeah, because, you know, somebody...
Nevis has about 12,000 people, by the way.
Right. And they have a track here, as he just said. But, you know, Dr. Fontaine, somebody does making the point that Haiti has over 11 million people. So if we talk about people at Haiti, it's one of the poorest countries in the entire world.
Good, very good. Very, very, very good. Very good. Yeah.
Let's take this caller. Good evening.
Yes, Tibo.
Yes.
Another thing he say, people not making children. Can you make children and you don't have no economy, you don't have no money? What you gonna make children for? You making a child for a man, the man not working, he cannot support the child. For who you making the child? People, I could remember I left Dominica with my daughter in 1980. I went to Guadeloupe. My child was not born in Guadeloupe. I got a job after 7 months. I was inserted in the Social Security in Guadeloupe. I was getting money for my child. Dominica, you want Social Security, you can hardly get an income from Social Security.
You know, Dr. Fontaine.
You know, also, go ahead. That's also another error in the reasoning. It's not that people are not making children, it's just that the people who are leaving are the people of childbearing age. Mm-hmm. See, that's why you don't have as many children, because those more likely to leave are those who are seeking opportunities overseas, who want to go to work. And that's the young people. And these are the people between the ages of 18 and 35 who would normally be the ones making children.
And you know, somebody's saying people are now going back door to St. Thomas via Tortola. So most of them, when they say a Labour Party supporters, by the way, they're leaving to go to St. Thomas via Tortola. We have another caller. Good evening.
After Hurricane Maria, we had an influx of foreigners that came from St. Lucia, Antigua, and other neighboring islands to build, because there was work in the country. After that, many of them went back. Have you ever heard a foreign voice in America like a Kitishan speaking? No. You never had a couple weeks ago I asked that question. Maybe a St. Lucian, you might hear all over there one day. But you wouldn't hear a Kitishan, you wouldn't hear Antiguan per se. Maybe if you're Antiguan, maybe something running away from. But all the people speak in their country because their country doing better. But we have to run to their country for survival. So when you play the country with children, I don't know if it's he that's going to maintain them for us. Bye-bye.
You know, Dr. Fontaine, I was saying to somebody today, in fact, that a lot of people in Dominica, when they get to 60, will die poor. Because what will happen, a lot of people are not paying Social Security or whatever. They depend on the handouts from this guy here. So when they get to 60 and so, they cannot probably go to a proper doctor. They cannot eat a proper meal because they have nothing coming in. And a lot of our people are going to die when they get to that age in Dominica.
It's a crisis in the making. That is going to be a huge. That's going to be a huge crisis. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Ronald, you're going to say
I'm saying we are giving this guy unnecessary publicity.
Mm.
If we want to focus, let's focus on the economy. Let's look at the productive sector in Dominica. What's happening? What are we producing right now in Dominica? And guys are giving you promises after 23 years in government. Fellas are promising of doing a marina, of doing an airport, after 23 years in government. Mm-hmm. And you wonder really what's happening. What are we producing from the agricultural sector? What has happened to agro-processing? Agro-processing has literally disappeared. Look at tourism. So much money from the passport program has gone into tourism. And you see facilities are just being stopped all over the place. Facilities have been slowed down. Facilities have been stopped. And you look at our infrastructure. I drive from Maho to Roseau and I have to be very careful on the road because of the amount of potholes on the road. So what really is happening when you drive around in Roseau? When FLR4 came in and they had the motorcade, and you look to see around what is happening, what's really happening in Dominica? So many dilapidated buildings. You come into Roseau is like a bumping track all over. Dilapidated buildings, bad roads, bad sidewalks. This is what we need to focus on. What can we do to get production going in Dominica? That's fundamental. Irrespective of the size of the population, what can we do to get production going in Dominica? And that's fundamental.
Hear what somebody's saying. The countryside economy is in shambles. How can population increase when more children came from the countryside? Dr. Fontaine, you heard that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. The fact of the matter is that people are leaving not only from Roseau, but from the villages as well. And that's why you have that. And to me, that is a crisis. And that's been happening for many years now under this Labour Party government. And as long as the economy is not fixed, and as Ron say, unless and until you can focus on production, on fixing the economy, fixing agriculture, putting people to work, until you do that, you're going to have that problem.
You know, and Ronald spoke about the roads. It appears to me, it's wicked, these people. When you, I'll say it again, Lambi comes from that side, all of us Skinfield side. When you get on the bridge, there's a big hole on the bridge. You have to make zigzag. And after you drive from the bridge, that's by Almotos, to, what's the name, Auto Trade, all over the place. Then you come on the other side of the bridge. Then when you reach by, what's the name, you remember where the car wash was in Massac there? Big holes. And these people call that a highway. How can that be a highway? Highway don't have holes. Highway a good, nice road there. Highway, nobody you live in the States. You ever see holes on the I-95? You don't see that off the you know the I-95. You ever saw a hole on the I-95? For people saying about, and Io Libre, I'm sure his children must be feeling ashamed that they're calling this place the Io Libre High. You are driving and you're hearing, sometimes you don't see it, all you hear, bodo, you're carrying a hole, a stone. I mean, come on, man. Please, Messi, are you listening? Fix the blasted roads. There's a big hole on the bridge by Almotos there. Fix it, block it, fix it. All by the car wash, all over the place, holes all over. My goodness. What are you all doing? This is not a highway. Even by, what's the name? Nassif place there, Smart. Holes from there going to Pottersville. A whole set of holes. And people paying taxes. Come on, man.
You know, and then Ron mentioned one of the things that's the worst for me in Dominica, in line with that, is the state of Roseau. Ron, you mentioned it. It is just so disheartening to see dilapidated buildings, to see the grass. I took some pictures there of grass growing like weeds right in the sidewalk there next to our party office. Tall bush right there on the sidewalk, growing there. The gutters are clogged with muck and with all sorts of things. The place is smelling. Why can't we fix that? It doesn't take a lot of money to fix that. It doesn't take a lot to pay somebody to trim the grass on the sidewalk so that people can walk without being impeded. You have to walk on the street because there's grass growing, abandoned buildings. You have trees growing in those abandoned buildings, bush growing in the abandoned building. It's an eyesore, and it's horrible. I can just imagine what's going through the minds of those tourists when they come to Dominica and they have to witness that. But it should not be done for the tourists. It should be done for our own sake. Why can't we fix those issues? And these are simple issues. These are not costly issues to fix, but it is disturbing to your psyche when you walk around Roseau and you see the state of the city.
Okay, guys, so we're going to take our first break. We have some heavy-duty men there. Big people are there, big people in all aspects. So we take our first break. By the way, while they're there, there's a new rub. They call it the Rewards Rub. It's good for young sportsmen. I think Ronald collected his own. Dr. Fontaine, you only all know we come to Dominica.
I don't want that. I don't believe the thing at all.
Quick Care Pharmacy. No, it's locally made.
I don't deal with that, Sibo. I don't deal with that.
Anyways, Rewards Rub. So all young sports people who are aging who have inflammation and arthritis, they can get it. So we take our first break now.
The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau. Motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related perils, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you. Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House, located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@portersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
All you where in Roseau, Kima. And you can just walk in and order all your chicken parts, wholesale, and even enjoy retail. It's at AC Shillingford. All chicken parts available that you can afford. Fresh breast. And you know breast is best. Shillingford wings have muscle. After you eat it, you can fly. As for Shillingford chicken drumsticks, even swinging stars just order drumsticks from Shillingford. And for those of you who love Risapul, AC Shillingford keeps your belly full. Buy your chicken wholesale at AC Shillingford. From wings to thighs to drums to breasts to backs to necks, it's available. It's always available and it's affordable. Plus, you've got pork feet, ham and turkey, bull foot, chicken nuggets, pepperoni, all those right seasonings to make your kitchen keep on ticking. Buy your wholesale chicken at AC Shillingford. When you think of chicken, think of AC Shillingford. Always fresh.
Yeah, before Sibo introduces our first guest, I would like to commend Rudolph Thomas and Sons and AC Shillingford for giving us continuous sponsorship. Without Rudolph Thomas and Sons and AC Shillingford, Sports Wrap would not be on the air. Thank you very much.
And soon Rewards Rob will be a sponsor as well. Yeah, but in fact, I just mentioned to one of the gentlemen there, maybe he has a business. He can take a sports and Sports Wrap. Anyway, guys, we're going to be talking about basketball, and we have, last week, Thursday, when we spoke, we had Mr. Donnie Robinson. He said, not if they win the championship. You remember he said when, guys, right? Remember that, right? So they will identify themselves. Both of them are here, and over to them now.
Okay, good evening, guys. Donnie Robinson, usual.
And
Lester Langley.
Right. So these guys are the champions of the Division 1, the Premier League in Dominica, Detroit Blazers. Detroit Blazers, sorry, I don't want to mess up Donnie's business. His name is Detroit Blazers, because we don't want to spoil it because he might be a sponsored Sport Wrap soon. So anyway, Donnie, tell us, you all won last week. Was it easy last week, Thursday night?
Not at all. It was not easy by any means. It was a tough game. It actually went to overtime, and we ended up winning by about 6 points. But it was a very good, keenly contested match, and we were down by 16 or 18 points at a certain point. But obviously, the cream always rises to the top, so we ended up winning that game. But it was a keenly contested match.
Yeah, but to come back from 16 points down, I mean, it's really good. I mean, what helped you all after that? I mean, being 16 points down, what did the coach say to the players which really galvanized them to come back to win that game?
Well, I think in our case, we have a lot of experience, and we knew that we were not at our best in the first 3 quarters of the game. We knew the team was also going to run out of gas. They started playing slower, which played right into our hands, and we just took control of the game, slowed down the tempo, less turnovers, and started controlling the boards. But most importantly, we played some really good team defense, and that's what turned the game around and literally shut them down in the fourth quarter.
Now, like what you say, because it's team defense, because too often, sometimes we would say, well, that player, because, you know, it's like basketball, it's like cricket, it's a team game, and it's like when you can have team guys get together and decide, man, we're going to fight back and to try and win the. I like that. But Lester, we're not hearing you, man. Your play, we're not hearing anything from you.
Yeah, big man speak. That's actually one of the man of the moment for that championship. You know? So that was one of the all decisive players.
Okay.
You have to give him that respect and let him speak.
All right.
Yeah. I saw some of the game, but I had a pressing commitment. I had to leave, and I saw the Eagles were flying all over the Detroit Blazers. I said, Donnie in trouble tonight. Especially there was a dark, slim fella with dreadlocks who was dunking the ball. I saw him dunk against Guadeloupe. I saw him dunk against Detroit Blazers again. I said, this guy's a very talented guy. And I said, Eagles is going to take that to 2-1. When I called Donnie, and so Donnie told me that they won in overtime, I say, what? When you got experience, it's very important in life. Experience, consistency, and focus always delivers at the end of the day. And Donnie, I want to commend you very highly. I want to commend you not only for your play in the game, for being the president of the DBA, the Dominica Basketball Association, for also being a sponsor of the main team, for being an executive member of Detroit's Blazers. It's very, very, very important. And your sponsorship don't remain only to basketball. You've gone into T10 cricket, sponsoring T10 cricket. And I'm very proud. I commend you very highly for your contribution to sports. And I hope that you continue contributing to sports in that particular way.
You know, Ronald, as you say that, you remember we had our club Celtic for about 18 years. We had our executive, you, myself, Ian Monroe, everybody behind the club. And you need a driving force behind the club. And even without somebody like him there, I mean, since he came back in the basketball, island-wide, and his club itself, I mean, before him, his father did some work with the Detroit team. So he himself must be commended for being a driving force to help that club to move forward.
Tell us about your future programs and your strategic plans for development, not only of Detroit Blazers, but development of basketball in Dominica.
Well, first and foremost, I want to just reach out to the Detroit Blazers fans. I mean, I know we have the best fans in Ireland. They support us to death. And when we were down by 18, that was one of our driving forces was the fact that the fans never gave up on us. So I really want to commend them. To your question, basketball is on the way back. I think now we start to garner a lot more interest in the sport over the past 2 to 3 years. We were able to have 2 successful leagues, so that helped. But moving forward, what we really want to do is instill the club structure back in basketball. And when I say club structure, it doesn't necessarily, we wanted to have more of a community-based club structure. The good thing about one of our plans 3 years ago when Peter and the previous executive, we put that strategic plan together, we said we're going to help decentralize basketball. I remember we having a conversation here about 2 years ago, also talking about decentralizing basketball. The National League that just ended was a clear example that we only had 2 or 3 teams from Roseau Central. Every other team was from outside of Roseau. While we might be playing at a central location, it's important to note that the teams that are playing there are totally decentralized. Last year, the national championship went to Fishline. This year, Pebush was in the finals. The final 4 teams only had 1 team from Roseau. The Division 1 only had 2 teams from Roseau out of 17, etc., etc. So that is one thing we want to continue. And to deliver that, we have to support the off seasons that these districts apply and have. So we're going to take some of those on board as DABA and try to develop that club structure, like I said. So next year, every Premier Division team that's registered would have to register as a club. That's one of the prerequisites to be part of the Premier Division. And then the following year would mean you would have to have a Division 2, etc., so we can start growing it, and women as well. So that's one of the plans, along with developing coaching and definitely officiating as we go with different coaching sessions through FIBA. So it sounds like a mouthful, but as part of our strategic plan, these were the top 4 things, and they're starting to unfold as we go.
Guys, I'm sure you'll have questions for Donny and Lester. Dr. Fountain Lobby, are you hearing us? Let me.
Lobby is off.
Lobby, Dr. Fountain, you hearing us?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Sorry. Yes, certainly, Donny. I just wanted to say congratulations. You certainly backed up your brave speech with the work on the court, and I know it was not easy. Ola was not there, but I was following the game because I had a friend of mine who was actually there watching, and it seems that the guys played very, very well. The question I have for you is, what's next? Now that phase is over, what's the next step in terms of what we can look forward to with the basketball?
So I'll start again. DABA, our plan is to have a big closing ceremony. We're hoping to have an all-star game, so we reward some of the players that performed well in the league. And then after that, we definitely going to support some of the off seasons that were being planned. We're trying to have one in every quadrant, so one in the south, one in the northern area, maybe most likely one on the west coast, and then Marigot is having their own starting in 2 weeks. So we're going to fully endorse. So that's the immediate plan. From our club standpoint, we are going to do some things. We definitely going to have our own off season held in the Massac area from a Blazer standpoint. and we are trying to encourage some female basketball and have some youth entry points over the next couple of months here. But for sure, for the next month or two, we're just going to celebrate ourselves and our fans in Massac. That's for sure.
Lobby, you have any question? I know. Lobby, are you hearing us?
Lobby's not on.
Lobby, you mute? Lobby, are you muted?
Lobby's not on.
Oh, it's not on. Oh.
What are the prospects for regional competition, Donnie?
We had a good showing at the Creole basketball, and
Can you hear me now?
We hear you now. Hold on. One done is
Right.
finished. You come in. Yeah.
And our plan for the regional basketball, especially Windward Islands, we've been in talks with the Windward Island boards, St. Lucia and Grenada in particular, and we're definitely trying to have, before next season, some sort of friendly tournament, or at least we won't be able to have a FIBA tournament solely because of the structure of FIBA this year. But we are trying to have some kind of friendly engagement within the islands. So at least we can have the exposure, but more importantly, gauge our level of play among our sister islands. That's the immediate plan for regional.
Lobby, yeah, come in now. I'm sure you want to speak to Donnie.
Okay, Donnie, yes, I just want to congratulate my team from Massac. You know, I've been you came from Hacks and then Blazers. You know, so I'm very happy. Remember, I told you last week, you know, that I spoke about you winning. I'm very happy that you'll have won. But what I want to talk about, Donnie, that Marcellus Lee last week, he spoke about the when he evaluated the Creole League. He looked at our deficiency, Dominica, in terms of guard. He said he lacked fundamentals, and Lee said that was one of the problems. While Antigua was a little bit more dominant, our guards need to be a little bit more fundamentally sound in terms of slashing, penetrating, ball handling. And I think that while you talk about off-season, I always have a problem when you're off-season. That is a time when teams have to be evaluating the league, looking and see what can be done and working on the game. We have to try to improve on the game. You know, the players, I don't mind an off-season, but, you know, the players have to start looking and improving. As you spoke highly of Antigua, all right, Antigua, but I know that at home, there's work that has to be done. And as he said, we have to go, the guards have to improve.
Well, I agree with Tilling's opinion. I think it still goes back to clubs being prepared and properly coached. From a talent standpoint, I think we have a lot of talent from our guards points. I mean, we have guys that have gone to regional tournaments and got MVP awards and those kind of things. But I think the difference in those teams were the level of efficiency in terms of the execution, and that allows every position to look way better than the opposition, especially if you're working in unison. And that is where I think we saw our deficiency in the Creole basketball. The teams were very well prepared. I mean, we beat 2 out of 3 regional teams, so it's nothing to be ashamed of. But when you got to Antigua, which is a team that's been together for 7 years and been through what you call the camp set up for 7 years with the same coaching and guys growing up through the system, it really comes down to execution and efficiency. Yes, I think the skill level, obviously at that level of playing so much and playing so often together, will advance. But if we backtrack a bit, I still believe having teams from a club standpoint, the same preparation you're talking about has to come from, you know, a unified body. That's where the clubs come in. That's where the coaches come in. That's where the commitment comes in from the players. So I think that's today that's what we lack in the most, and the rest will fall in place. I certainly believe we have the talent. We just have to get it organized and execute.
As you talk about unified body and togetherness, your club has been there for a while. You all have the support of Massac. Have you thought of, let's say, going on a tour, for instance, Martinique, Guadeloupe, St. Lucia, where you can use the boat, bring supporters, all that keeps people together? So I would say to you all that is something you all should try and pursue, try and get organized St. Lucia, Guadeloupe, Martinique, where you can take the ferry, bring probably 100 people. In fact, you all can use the authorities to raise funds down there,
right?
To have little tournament locally to help raise funds for your team to travel.
Yeah, well, actually, we have been speaking about that up to last night. Donny and myself and a few of us were speaking about that. Moving around because Donny have his contacts around the Caribbean. We also have contacts through regional tournaments and stuff. But that in saying that, we actually have plans on doing that even before the year end to travel to at least two of the neighboring islands and have some fun. And beside fun, when we go out there, despite of the fun or not, you don't want to lose. But the whole point about it is just to go and just to see the difference, so where we can gauge ourselves compared to them, and then we can come back, as Lobby right just said, sharpen up. The same off season on them, we can utilize that in the off seasons. Whoever is, you see your weaknesses, your strength, we work on it and utilize the off seasons for that.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. Yeah. Like, because I remember our club, we went to St. Croix in, I think, and that's one of the best time we ever had. We probably stayed a whole month in St. Croix Celtic, and we had fun. I can tell you that. It was one of the best stuff we ever had, man. That really kept the team together. So I like to see things like that. As I said, you are lucky in that you all have the facility right next to you all, so you can practice and even probably use it to raise funds if the authorities will allow you all. Let's take this caller. Maybe he has a question for you all. Good evening, he or she.
Good evening. How are you guys doing?
Good evening. We're okay.
Okay, I can remember the Prime Minister Africa loan $41 million to develop Roseau. Is that project start already or it finished?
Well, I don't know. Probably you could call Matt tomorrow. He'll have a better answer for you tomorrow morning. So call Matt tomorrow. He'll have a better answer for you. Okay? Thank you. Donny, I want to come back to, I don't know, Lobby. I'm surprised Lobby did not ask you the question about that. You made the point about decentralizing the basketball and that not many Roseau teams now. But Roseau, people around Roseau might say, but wait now, Donny saying that what country team will have to us. So what is the problem now that you don't have many Roseau teams playing basketball?
I asked him last week, I had the same question last week.
Well. Before Donny answer, let's take this caller. Donny, that's only a first. Let's take this caller and we'll get back to you. Good evening.
Yes, it was there.
Good evening, yeah.
Well, the last time we spoke, Donny had left the online had left the station. But yeah, what's up, man?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I watched part of the tournament and I kind of disappointed because you're not seeing that. I mean, and people talk a lot about the Antigua team and the height and so, and the commentators were talking about the height. No, you've got to be able to set up to break down the defense, and that's what basketball is about. And to me, I'm not seeing that kind of effort in getting a set place. You have one to pass it at the top, then somebody tries a three-pointer. No, you've got to have dedicated shooters, right? So that you swing the ball around and you get the
role players.
Everybody can score, but you got to have role players, and I think that is what's lacking. When I look at the basketball right now, that's what is lacking. You don't have too many those dedicated role players, the ball handlers, the shooters, and so everybody comes and they try to, and everybody shooting from 3-point land. In the absence of being able to, you have to be able to break down a defense, no matter how much height the team has. That's height is another issue. You have to be able to break down the defense. So if you speed or you use force. So if you run fast break, and even fast break is structured. It's not just anybody just running and the structure fabric, and that comes with practice. And I don't think that the teams nowadays are doing those kind of practices, making sure they set offensive so that you can break down the defense. Because if you don't have good shooters and the team have a height advantage, then you have problem. We saw it in the tournament. Mm-hmm. The Antigua team was way above because to me the height advantage and them guys, nobody want to go inside there. You got to break them in defense.
True.
So I think a lot of work has to be done. I know they concentrate on 3 and 3 for the past couple of years. The 3 and 3 is supposed to be able to help the teams, but you have to develop these individual competencies, the ball handlers, the shooters. You have to have that. And I just say that everybody's not a shooter.
True.
Everybody can score, but you need dedicated. Remember, I've done Beanie, Makers, them guys were shooters.
Yes.
So you can depend on them and swing the ball around and get their shooter. But nowadays, everybody's shooting 3-pointers. They need that structured, organized offense. to break down their defenses because otherwise we're going nowhere.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Very well said. Yeah, Donny, we were saying about the Rojo thing, and obviously you heard what your former coach said. Yeah.
Well, I think two things. I think from Roso's standpoint, obviously, facility in Roso, I'm sure, played a role in that. Today, Roso does not have a full court that a team could really organize and set up and practice consistently on. That's one. But also, I think, too, a lot of the basketballers in Roso kind of gravitate towards the outskirts teams because basketball has just been played more in the outskirts. That's just a fact. You go to Playbush basketball, they play day round. You go to Pichley basketball, they play day round. You go to Massac basketball, they play every day. You go to the West Coast, St. Joseph. So it's been played more. But I think from the initial displacement, I'll put it that way, of basketball from Windsor Park, it did impact the amount of people that played basketball in and around. I mean, that's just a fact.
But no, but when you leave the Windsor Park, look at the classic example of Goodwill. The court at Goodwill. You used to attract a lot of teams, a lot of players. What's happening now on that court in Goodwill?
I honestly, I still remember right around Maria time, before and after Maria, Goodwill was the place that you played basketball. But in recent times, the interest is just not there. Most of the younger people from Goodwill area played for the teams. I think it's twofold. I think from a leadership and organization standpoint, that really is less prevalent today than it was before. You had clubs as a club before. You had the Celtics. You had the young team that just came up. X-Men. All these teams were based in Goodwill, but they had some structure. Today, it's kind of slightly different. You know, the leaders of those set structures are kind of less these days, to be honest. So you look at the teams that are still alive, like Blazers, we've been around for a while. Pichley have been around for a while. Playbush is the older guys, like Lenin and those guys have been around for a while. They stuck with it. So that kind of helped build the structure that you need to be able to deliver the things that Coach Lee was talking about, the consistency, the level of coaching, the commitment. And that doesn't just come with 10 guys coming together and forming a team. That comes more with having a body together, a lot of people behind the scenes that not even involved with basketball itself. You know, making sure the structure is there, you get sponsorship, you have discipline, you have rules, you have participation, and most importantly, you have facility and the means to be able to get it done.
Donny. Yes, Donny. I just about Roso. We're also looking at Grand Bay also. Look at what in your time. Grand Bay also.
Bata Pros, right? Bata Pros.
But from from the St. Mary's Academy when basketball started, you had, first of all, Grand Bay as the first team out of Roso that participated in basketball. And they were forced to reckon with.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just can't understand what has happened
I think
to basketball in Grand Bay.
Grand Bay have a young team that's the second year they're back. You have a couple of the senior guys that came back and tried to put a team together. They made it to the quarterfinals, semi-finals in the Division 1, but you can see the improvement. And it's just a new crop of young guys. What has happened, in my opinion, humble opinion, in Grand Bay basketball is today, if you look around it, you see none of the players that played 15, 20 years ago, for instance, either through migration or maybe just.
What about the facility up there, Donny?
The court up there actually at the center, what they call it, is actually pretty good. They have a pretty good court by the police station up there. So the facility is okay. They even have lights. But I just think is we have Coach Fuego doing his thing now, starting to add some structure. So that with time will come back. But I think we underestimate the importance of continuity in things like voluntary sports.
True.
I look around and 30 years ago I was a national player, and today I cannot see one of the guys I played with contributing to any team. And it's not a knock on them, it's just a reality. So yes, while we say the facilities this and the facility that, and the level of play has changed, there have to be some continuity for some people or somebody to take them along. If it's not the schools, it's not the clubs, then who?
Well, that's why I say you have to be applauded because, again, I'll say our team, if you don't have people behind, you mentioned about Goodwill, people like Egbert Charles and these guys were with the good, and that was the main area for basketball up in Goodwill, and it doesn't happen now. So you need people, even if you have players, because the players themselves really cannot organize, you have to have people behind them, and that's why you have to be applauded for coming back. We probably have another caller to probably questions for them, but it's important that you have people, the driving forces behind the team. Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Has women basketball disappeared?
Well, the president is here. He can answer that. You're still on the line, lady?
Yes, I am.
Hold on. He'll answer you. Don't hold on. Have an interaction with him. Yeah.
Good evening. No, it has not disappeared. This year we actually had a 4-team league where every team played each other twice, and the female team from Roseville ended up winning. 767 Sports Club ladies won that in a best of 3 final. So they had a full league, and we actually did something very unique this year. Every Saturday night, prime time, we had a female game. And we got some flack for it initially because it was not garnering the kind of crowds and so, but we stuck with it for the entire season. So we had a full team, a full schedule this year. Unfortunately, we only had 4 teams, but it's an improvement from last year where we only had 1 team and therefore couldn't have the league. And I think moving forward, we'll continue to push that. But while a lot of work needs to be done, we have not at all abandoned female basketball, and it's part of our plans.
Any more questions? Any more questions for him?
No.
Donnie,
Thank you.
In closing, what I would like you to do is inform us about some of the young talent, the names of the young talented players we should look out for in basketball.
Well, I think you observed one of them at the finals. Tama Felicite.
That's his name?
Yes. He's a very talented.
Yeah.
He's maybe the highest jumper I've seen around in a very, very long time. Obviously, we have to nurture those talents. We have a couple young ones in Blazers like Maxwell Birmingham. His father is an ex-national player. Jetswan Lee, who is basically under 20 and playing both divisions for us. So these guys show some promise. If you look at Pichle, you have guys like Zach, Mishak Debule, Yawani Regis. These guys are skillful. Need some just some guidance. I think you can look out for those guys. If you have guys like Barry from 767 Sports Club, you have the young Bolan. What's his name? He plays for the BA Sharks, who are the Division 1 champions from last season. They have a whole slate of these 4 or 5 guys that I can guarantee you in the next 3-4 years will dominate the national scene. Granby have some young players, 1 or 2 guys there that the sky's the limit. We have a lot of potential, but my concern is getting these guys into the right setting where they can be, where the fundamentals, the same fundamentals that we mentioned, can be glued into them early and they can develop along those lines, because there are opportunities. I mean, this weekend, just on Sunday, we had a regional scout in doing one-on-one with one of those guys, trying to get them out of, get an opportunity outside. So there are opportunities, and we do our best to promote them. But we need those leaders of those teams to step up and really make sure they take full advantage of those potential.
Well, Donnie, it was really nice, you and Lester, and you guys must come again. We don't want, even if it's off season, let us know what's going on. It's always good to know. And don't forget, you still have a spot there. Your business can take a spot, advertise the spot at Sports Shop. So let's say thanks to you guys. Lester, Donnie, thank you so much, man, for joining us. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. All the best going forward.
Yeah, guys, it was nice. We had a nice discussion. I mean, always nice having Donnie, Dr. Fontaine. Yes, I mean, that's what you need. You need leaders in various associations. And Donnie actually plays. So that's what it healthy basketball is actually playing. So
and you absolutely need that kind of volunteerism as well, the fact that it's all voluntary. You need that.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, you're right, Dr. Fontaine. Yeah. Yes, Lobby.
Yes, as you spoke about volunteerism here, it's not easy in Dominica, Sebastian, in terms of respect. That's why you see a lot of people don't want to come forward as before. All right? Respect is key. Punctuality at training. All right? You have to be punctual at training. You have to show commitment. It's not easy to leave your home doing something free. When you're rich, players not there, players are late. It's just not easy. All right?
Yeah, guys not committed now like before, Lobby. Guys not committed now. You virtually have to be begging players to play now.
I mean, because the culture, Sebastian, we had a culture. If we look back, we had a culture of sports. We had people, had sports was alive. It was alive and well in Dominica. The schools, look at the schools. Let us go back in. Look at for example, your school, grammar school. For example, you had your own ground. When grammar school come into the Windsor Park, you had this guy, James Dominic, leading with a bell. You had that crowd coming to the Windsor Park. All right, these were the days. What has happened to us? All right.
By the way, the latest score from Antigua, Dr. Fountain, the Antigua playing Trinidad, 9 without loss. That's the latest score in the Caribbean Premier League. In Antigua. Well, the Antigua team haven't been doing well at all, guys. I don't know if you have been following the games.
You saw it last night. I saw the game last night. It was a six fest. I think they tied the record with the Indian League for the most sixes in the game. 42 sixes.
Yeah, but St. Kitts is a small ground, guys. Small ground. Yeah. In fact, the straight boundary is probably 50 yards.
I know.
And I don't like this sort of. That's why the World Cup I liked it where you had these low scores because people had to fight to score runs. But when you have scores many teams 40, 50, 60s in a night, that's really not cricket, Dr. Fountain.
True. But I meant to ask you, why is it that the grounds are not standard? A football field is standard, a tennis pitch is standard, a cricket. But why is that for cricket, the boundary is allowed to vary like this? It's not a standard distance.
Well, because you see, they have like entertainment. So you see people, they think 6Cs. I mean, if you look at St. Kitts ground, for instance, the straight boundary cannot be more than 50 yards, I'll tell you. Cannot be. And even
that's the question I'm asking. Why is it not that there should be a stipulation? The same way.
Well, it's supposed to be 75 yards all around. 75 yards. Right? But that doesn't occur. Even our guests here who played cricket will tell you that. But now even in the IPL, Dr. Fountain, some of the boundaries are brought in so that they can entertain the crowd. And really, I don't believe in that. You can't have a match where people are hitting 60s like it's a big joke. That's why a lot of people struggle in the World Cup, you see?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll come back to that because we have a new guest with us in the studio. We have the president of the Dominica Football Association who has joined us. We haven't heard him for a while. In fact, it must be more than a year we have. Good night, sir.
Good night, Sebastian, and good night, Ronald.
Good night, Glenn.
Dr. Fountain and Lobby.
Oh, Dr. Fountain and Lobby, good evening. And good evening.
Good night.
Glenn, you've been president what? How many years? 8 years now?
Yeah, more than that, 10 years.
10 years. And the last time you were elected was last year, right?
No, 2 years ago.
2 years now. We haven't heard,
1 year and so.
Well, we haven't heard you for a while. So it's nice that we could get you. In fact, I virtually have to be begging you to come here because to get you is always a problem. But anyway, Glenn, you've been there for 10 years now. Are you satisfied with how football is going, with the progress of football in Dominica?
Well, that's a tough question. Well, there's always room for improvement in any sport, but I'm not 100% satisfied. Why? Because there's a lot that we can do that we are not doing collectively. Because to perform in any sport, you have to have all aspects of the sport has to be involved, and it's a holistic approach. So that's why I say I'm not satisfied. Because it's not just about the associations, about the players, about the facilities. It's a holistic approach for anybody to develop in any sports, what you have.
Yeah, but okay, your facility now at Stock Farm is more or less completed. You still have some work to do on it?
No, that's far from completion.
Right.
You want to say we are just about 30% complete.
Only 30%?
Only 30%.
So tell us what improvement you intend doing up there.
Because what we have in mind for the Stock Farm complex is additional rooms for the team. Now we have only 2 rooms. We need big 4 rooms because we want to play double headers. We want to cover the stands. We want to put dormitories. We want to put gym. We want to put confectionery areas. We want to put conference areas. So you see what it going to entails. There's a lot more to be done at Stock Farm. As we speak now, we are just getting the approval for phase 0 of the next phase, which phase 0 is where the funds is for the consultancy in terms of the design and the preparation and tendering. And that will encompass the extension of the 2 other dressing rooms and the covering of the stand, because we have heard a lot of complaints from the fans that when they go to Stock Farm, they have to run from the sun, they have to run from the rain. So we really need to cover the stand at Stock Farm. And it's going to be very Not
costly, right?
Very costly.
Because from what you're saying there, you're looking at least $20-25 million, eh? From what you say you need to do there.
Yes, definitely. It's going to be very costly, especially when you cover the stand now. The estimate's about over $1 million just to cover the stand because of the height of the coverings and where it's located and so on. But nevertheless, we will definitely do it.
But where are you hoping to get the funds from to do all these things?
Well, we have a donor which people know is FIFA.
Right.
That doesn't mean that they just give you money. I mean, all monies have to be accounted for. But if you write certain projects and it's something that is worthwhile, I think FIFA will assist in putting the funding forward for the development of football in Dominica.
In terms of the stands, there is an existing stand. Do you intend to build other stands around the field?
Well, when you look at our population, I don't think other stands is necessary because we're going to extend the stand. So you're going to have more seating, and now it's just exposed with just the bleachers. But when we're going to install proper seating, so that will give you more seating capacity than what you visualize now, what's present. The other stand that is going to be extended is going to be same dimension of what is present. So you're going to have this extended going to the extreme to the road, the area. Like I said, on the western side, we want to put some dormitories that when we have our youth teams in training, that we can house kids to stay in and to have maybe a good sleep and good meals. We want to put a gym. Now, you can't have this sport without having proper gymming. I mean, you need proper gymming. And we want to put some confectionery areas. We want to put some function areas that we can maybe generate some funding. So there's a lot more. I thought we want to put some irrigation system also, because with the turf now at Stock Farm and Dominica climate with the sun, it can be very, very hot. So we need some irrigation system, which we have seen somewhere that you can put them on the perimeter of the playing field instead of having it on the ground. On the ground can be very maintenance, very costly. So it's even cheaper to have it on the fence than stuff like that. We want maybe in the future we want to put some solar lighting. So it's a lot we have for Stock Farm plan.
It's good to hear about the irrigation system because certain players will tell me, especially the junior league, when they're playing during the course of the day, in the afternoon, the field is very, very hot.
Well, yeah, that is normal.
It's artificial. It's
an artificial turf, so
yeah.
It's very, very, but it's beneficial, I must say, because had it not been for the artificial turf, then we'd be struggling to have our league where it is now. Because with our rainy season, when you play one game with the natural grass, it takes you another 2-3 weeks to recuperate to get back to where you want it. With the artificial turf, it's just a matter of brushing it and play in the next hour.
Okay, let's get to football now. Actually playing. Dominica plays this weekend, right?
Yeah, Dominica.
So you need to enlighten the public. They want to know what competition is that? When are we playing? Why are we not playing in Dominica? All these people want to know.
Yeah, well, Dominica plays this weekend in Antigua, and there's 2 games. Dominica plays Antigua on the 7th, and on the 10th we play against Dominican Republic. The first game is it's a male game. It's a CNL game. It's CONCACAF Nation League game, like what you see in the in Europe. So it's CONCACAF Nation League game. And Dominica now has moved from League C to League B. So that we have elevated from League C to League B. So, but that's first time Dominica have been into League B. So that is something that we have to be proud of. We're hoping that our boys can pull off both wins in Antigua. Why the games are in Antigua? I think CONCACAF have seen it's very expensive for traveling within our territory, within countries. So the mere fact, the grouping is Dominica, Antigua, Dominican Republic, and Bermuda. So the next leg of game, which is going to be in October, it's going to be in Bermuda, and the other leg of game in November going to Dominican Republic. Even though this Dominica is out, because in that grouping, we were the 4th ranked team. So we're hoping that we can win this competition and be ranked higher, so our next games can be in Dominica.
So that is the reason why we don't have matches in Dominica,
that's the reason why
because of our ranking.
Because of our ranking.
Well, so the onus is on you now to get your team to win.
Well, yeah, because like I said, you have 4 teams now in the competition. Now the 4 teams, out of that, Dominica ranks lower than them. Doesn't mean we rank the lowest in that group, but there's other groups around the Caribbean going on. So hence, then we need to win this set of games, get our ranking better, so we can have the next CNL games. We can have games in Dominica.
But you look like you want to ask a question. Go ahead.
Yes, no, he's saying he's talking about ranking. So if it was possible for us to have game in Dominica, would be able to have a game in Dominica right now? Would be this game would be in Dominica? If I rank, if we were in B,
Well, we'll be able to play at the stadium at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, but it have to be a day game because there's no light at the Windsor Park like we played against Jamaica. It would have to be a 3 o'clock game. That's the only difference.
But then oh, go ahead, Lobby. You still wanted to ask him? Go ahead.
Yes, another question. He spoke about when Lander, I think Lander asked him about additional stand, and he spoke about he said about the cost. What in terms of yes, there's some facility at Stock Farm. Do you foresee having international games there?
Yes, the size of the playing surface is international standards. It's 75 by 115.
Right.
It's international standard. But CONCACAF and FIFA regulations will not allow you to have games there, which are uncovered stand, and you have no proper areas for team dressing rooms. That's one of the areas we have to work on to have
So
games
when
there.
I'm talking about for the future, when all these things have been in place, you will be able to have your home.
Yes, we'll be able to have home games at the technical center.
And there, in terms of what you're doing right now, you'll be able to collect fees.
Well, yeah, definitely the design for the technical center is very very nice design where it's all even has some wheelchair access for persons with disabilities and some VIP parking. So it have some areas for the media. It's a real nice design we have already for Stock Farm. It's not completed, like I said, but it's something we have visualized and something that Dominica will be first of its kind in Dominica.
What's your projection? 2025, 2026?
It will go beyond that because what we're asking for is a lot. What we're asking for is a lot because the dormitory on the western side is going to take a little time because it's going to be looking about having about 90 rooms, so it's something fairly big. We want to have a gym, like I said, at that center also. We want to have some conference room. So it's going to take a little more than 2025 to have it all completed.
Some time ago, you all contributed, I think it was 80-something thousand to assist in work at the Windsor Park. Have you spoken to central government with a view to assisting you in the facility up at Stock Farm?
No, we have not spoken to central government on this, no. We have made a contribution to the.
But what's the reasoning for that, though, to contribute to work on the Windsor Park? I found that's very strange, bizarre, really.
To give the money?
No, to help in the Windsor Park. I mean, I thought that was very strange.
So, well, we that was around the World Cup qualifying games coming up, and we had to get it to an area preparation that FIFA would have approved. Hence the reason that we have to assist ourselves. And these are money that people were making contributed to various stadiums around the Caribbean. So we would not allow that money to slide up.
Let's take a caller. Maybe somebody wants to speak to you. Good evening. The caller, I got cold feet.
Yes,
hold on, Dr. Pong, what you do?
Yes, sure. I have a question. I have a question for Glenn. Yeah, Glenn, thanks very much, for coming. I'm interested in the plans you have for the development of competition outside of Roseau, in terms of having probably even zonal competitions and so on, and any efforts of your association to promote and improve the sport in the rural areas of Dominica.
Well, we have started that already. I mean, football have been decentralized over the years. I mean, football is not just played in the Roseau area. We have a system, the Lapland playing field. Most of the work done on the Lapland playing field was done by the DFA, and we still continue to assist Lapland. We normally assist Portsmouth and all the other playing fields around the island. Since we think it's an area that we can play football and we can make a contribution to it, we do that. What in terms of, the zonal, I think that is for the community to take on. I mean, the persons in the various community has to take on the zonal competition because it's going to be difficult for the FA to do all this competition. Now, the FA has about what? We have a lot of leagues going on now. We have the Premier League of men. We have the senior women leagues going on now. We have under 15 league going on. We have Division 1 league going on now. And we still have the under 20 league going on now. So we have 5 leagues running simultaneously now. So that's a lot of competitions going at the same time.
But let me ask you, Glenn, do all these teams you are playing, do they have practice facilities where they can really practice? In the day you played football, obviously at Point Michel, you all would practice.
You played with Celtic too, you know.
Yeah, no. In fact, he and I...
and Spartans
in
also.
fact, he and I had a big partnership in Grenada, you know.
Yes.
Cricket, yeah. I know, but playing for Dominic, I remember his batting if I really schooling, tell him what he should do, and he played well. I remember that we had a real big partnership in Grenada.
Definitely.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know he played cricket for Dominica. A lot of people
also
don't.
wicket keep.
Yeah. But I think you didn't keep that much. You played as a batsman, right?
No,
that much in Grenada. You kept?
I kept that much.
You kept, okay, but you did a very good job. I remember batting. We had a nice long partnership. But going back to that, because I mean, a lot of these teams really don't practice, and they go to matches and really don't practice. Maybe they don't have the facilities to practice.
Well, yeah, that is one of the problems also, and not just the facility, but you need facilities that need to be lit. I mean, yeah, because you know the whole concept of practicing and playing sports now is not in the immediate afternoon, like 5 o'clock. People are still at work, so you have to do your training. If you want to say 6:37, and most of the ground, or all the grounds, as a matter of fact, are not lit in Dominica. So that is a setback. We had a project for this. We have not give up on it, where we had about 6 playing field that we want to lit, which it was Point Michel. Well, Newtown, I know they were slated now. Grand Fort, La Plaine, Ansdime, and some Cassibus. So that is not out of the window. So we still want to continue with this project because, like you said, without this light on this ground, it's going to be very, very difficult for the footballers to develop their craft. You know, and it's about the coaching part of it also. It's a whole holistic approach. When we played the football, it was different. When I mean different in the sense that by the time it was 4:30, guys run to the playing field and do their own practice. But now, you know, you have more determining things around players now that will draw them out.
Hold up, we have a caller. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
Good.
Okay, I want to ask Mr. Etienne, how long are you going to continue punishing the under 15 players by making them play on that hot plastic at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning? As far as I know, you're supposed to be wetting that ground. This plastic is very hot. I think our boys are going to get sick playing on that hot plastic. It is also uncomfortable even watching the game from the stand. I want to know how long are we going to punish our under 15 players, making them play on that hot plastic? Would you, Mr. Etienne, would you allow your children to play on that hot plastic at 11 o'clock in the morning?
Okay, caller, let him respond to you.
I understand your point, caller, and it's something that we are concerned about. Like I said, we have an irrigation system we want to put in place. It's not going to be tomorrow, but it's something we're working on. But if I have to tell you where I played, you want to know where I played then. I played on the hot pitch. I'm not saying we have to go back to this.
Yeah.
You know, we have to move away, and because we need better facility. But sometimes we need to be in the difficult path for us to learn. Because I can tell you, I played football on the street and on the stones. And I can give you one example of persons I spoke to. Right, I spoke to Neymar, right, and he told me he played football on dirt. You know, and that doesn't mean that we have to go back to this. But we're from poor families and we are poor people, and we understand the cry of the youngsters and stuff like that. We haven't got now in the interim. What we want to do is we want to put some pools of water maybe around the perimeter that the young kids can maybe wet their shoes or wet their feet, so the heat will help a little bit. But it's a concern for every one of us. We understand it. But the advantage of it, these are the grounds they use when they go and play internationally. And the young kids just came back recently, and that was one of the stuff they told me. I spoke to some of the kids. They said, "Listen, had it not been for the turf, they would be struggling out there."
We have another caller. Good evening.
Yes, you know.
Speak a little louder so that Glenn can hear you.
Yeah, I think it goes down the question of commitment, because I know Glenn talk about the lights, and so Glenn didn't have the privilege of lights, and he was a class player. We played together at school,
Mhm.
even on the 19th team. We played for the national team. So I think it's a question of commitment. And I know people keep saying about all these things, but you're not playing. I don't think them guys play enough football. Because even like the basketball, I heard a woman say that the guys playing less, but they improving, and you can't be less and get better. So I think it's a question of commitment. Yeah, you have grums or you have lights, but still the guys are committed to the game. And I think that is the key problem is the commitment. They're committed. The fellas don't want to improve the level of football because there's a lot of room for improvement in football. You can do a lot of work, and I don't think they put it in the necessary work to get to that level.
Totally agree with you.
I agree with the
Totally.
caller. And I want to make a comment on that
Mhm.
in sense of the commitment. And even the club structure is very, very important. Before even you talk about Celtics,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, these clubs were organized. You know,
Mhm.
now we say we have clubs, but they are not really the clubs of the past. You know, and the kids can only play the game, but they cannot be doing the work of the persons to manage the game for them. So they need managers, and these are one of the biggest problems we have with the clubs. They're there, but they're not managing or doing what they have to do properly. I mean, we saw Dubla just coming from the Caribbean Football Union, and they did very satisfactorily because I can tell you for a fact, Dubla is one of the most structured club around in terms of football.
And they have a lovely field right there.
And they have a lovely field.
Now, Glenn, let's get to this controversial thing I would say about this fiasco in Venezuela, in Guatemala. It's our understanding on Sports Wrap that a report has been presented. Certain recommendations have been made. We were told that it's on your desk. Where are we with that now?
I'm surprised to hear that it's on my desk.
That's what we heard. It's on your desk for over a month now. Yeah.
No, we had a fiasco, we say that way, in terms that, well, it's something that was we didn't want, where it was a senior men team was on their way to Guatemala, and they were stuck in Barbados for visas. Well, we had some inquiry to find out how do we go forward. You know, yes, I've got some documents, and I'm not privy now to disclosing.
No, you don't have to if you don't want to.
Well, because the executive, we have not discussed it as an executive, but it's not that something that has been hidden or something that is held back on my desk or something like that. We don't want this thing to recur again.
But some people are uneasy in your executive because they feel that there are certain recommendations have been made where certain people might have to be separated from the association. I'm using a nice word when I say they have to be separated. In other words, people should be fired then. Certain people feel that and you're reluctant. Is that a fact?
I don't think that's a fact. Everybody at the FA has a job description, a contract, and then it's not my decision alone. There's an executive, there's a board that will look at these matters and decide going forward on that. But the inquiry was something for us internally that we now would see some of the things that we did wrong that we want to be corrected. Because we are human and we can do anything that's wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, we must not think we above everything, because, you know, some simple things like that have happened before, and not from the DFA. I've known other athletes that have had issues with visas, and it didn't make so much of a big stir. I think why it made this stir because maybe of the numbers of athletes involved, you know. But it is something that it was, like I said, for us to discuss internally that what went wrong and how do we going to better it, because we don't want this to happen.
Will you make that report public?
Well, if the executive,
or if the teams, will you release the findings to the clubs, because the clubs are part of the Football Association?
No, well, the clubs have not asked for a meeting on that.
Okay.
So we intend to meet the clubs on this.
So when you meet with them, you will release the findings, will you?
We don't really hide anything at the football.
Okay.
So when we meet with the club, it's a meeting where the clubs are going to be present.
So are you all going to act on the recommendations that have been made by whoever did the inquiry?
Well, the inquiry, like I said, was with Dean, was among the executive.
Mhm.
It was not so much of
Do you think that it's correct that if certain people were implicated, that you should not have had outside people to do this inquiry?
No, it was not about implication. You know,
but it's our understanding that certain people have been implicated, people who are members, working members of the FA, who work in the office.
So, like I said, it's not about implication, because if the executive sees fit that things have to happen, they'll have to happen. So we have not get to that part of it yet, in terms of like saying people have to get fired or not been fired. Or we have not get to that part yet. What I can say is that we have done this inquiry, we have the various documentation, and it's not hidden on my desk. It's just that I have them, and we are discussing them. We'll have our board meeting on Monday, which will definitely I'll bring up to the executive, and we take a decision from there.
Okay.
Then there's
hold on, Lobby.
There's a firm indication of developing an athletic stadium. And what you find in most athletic stadiums, you got a 400 meters track. And inside of the track, the area in there, you can play football games. It can be dedicated to football. And there's a firm commitment. Have you ever been approached to discuss, because you want to talk about the playing area, like you have in Stock Farm, and what needs to be done? Have you ever been approached? Have anybody attempt to discuss with you the development of that facility?
No, I've not been approached.
But you would be interested in having discussions?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Because
will you be proactive? Will you start asking questions?
Well, when it comes to football, I will.
Okay.
Because in the sense that, like you rightly said, it's an automatic football field within the track. So it's beneficial to football. So it's something that we will be utilizing, or we can utilize. So it's going to help the development of football. And we should be very good.
Lobby, you wanted to ask a question.
Yes, on the first thing on the what Lander just highlighted about the track. First of all, do you think, Glenn, there will be enough space to take a 400-meter track, 8 lane of 6 lane?
Well, I don't know the area that is demarcated for this, but I think Dominica should have the lands for this.
No, okay. And the second thing is this: based on the report, first of all, the executive has a binding obligation towards the clubs. Without the clubs are the one that put you all there. And if the clubs have decided that punitive measures must be taken, would you all go ahead with the decision of the clubs?
Well, it depends on what measures they are talking about, Mr. Hublak. I mean, the clubs, yes, is the one that put the executive there, but the club put the executive there to manage the affairs of football. So we have to know what the clubs are demanding or getting at.
Well, when they look at the report itself, and they look at people found one thing in terms of what took place there, I'm certainly sure that you're expecting some reaction from the clubs when the report will be circulated.
No, well, like I said, the clubs have requested a discussion or a meeting, and we will have a meeting with the club to discuss the matter. But you are saying that the clubs demanding. I don't think the clubs are in a position to demand something that, if they don't know what is the outcome of what they're going to demand.
Hold on, Lobby. We have a caller. Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm listening to the program. Very interesting program.
Thank you.
I'd like to remind Mr. Etienne, at the time he played football on the Stones and on the Hot Street, he would be reminded, or I'm going to remind him, that we had our veteran surgeon, Dr. Paul. So in case he broke his finger or his great toe, then it would be fixed in a GC and he would be well again. And in that time, if his mother didn't have enough money, she could go to her sister or her cousin and get some change. But right now, can the parents do that? It's back to school time and parents are struggling for school bags and school books. So, Mr. Glenn Etienne, when you are making the comparison, be careful.
Good night, Dr. Hendricks Paul. Good night.
Thank you, caller. Don't forget to bring his black pudding.
Don't forget that.
Don't forget it. Go ahead.
Caller, I'm happy you bring this up, because you're forcing me to say things now that I didn't want to say, because I'm not the person that nobody beats my chest. I played at the Windsor Park with a cast from my thumb to my shoulder. Now that would not happen. With a cast, playing the top football. On my way from national training on a Sunday afternoon, myself and Alan Toussaint, I got hit by a truck at Cocoa Filling on my way to Point Michel. And that we were riding a bike. So every so often, I would hit his back with his bike. And then eventually he didn't feel that touch. When he came back, you know where he met me? I was in the bush unconscious. I was rushed to the Princess Margaret Hospital, did a surgery right away, and played football this summer.
Who did the surgery? Same Dr. Paul?
It's Dr. Paul. So and I can go on and on. Okay, and I'll tell you one last thing, because they bring up the athletic track. I still own the cross country record at grammar school up to now.
Well, don't do a big thing, eh? The cross country.
And these were big things.
Yeah,
real competition.
We have another caller. Good evening. Good evening. Hello? Hello, caller. You're on. Hello. Stop listening to your radio. Good night. Anyway, the caller is... Glenn, we have to wind up. Dominica is playing this weekend. I'm sure you want to wish the team well.
Yes, definitely. Dominica, and not just me alone. I hope the whole country will want to wish the team. I think the team has been doing fairly good for the past tournament. We have a very decent team. And
Quickly mention some of the outstanding players you should look out for.
But everybody's outstanding.
No, Glenn. No, Glenn. They're more outstanding players.
Well, I am sure as the president, he wouldn't want to do that, because you want to see the whole team do well. So I don't think
True.
Yeah, because you want to see the whole team. Because you see, when you do that, sometimes you cause problems, And as the leader of the organization, I'm sure you don't want to do that. But we want to wish the team well. We hope they can win, because, as you said, the only way we probably can have matches in the Windsor Park is for the team to go forward. Because if that, but again, I find that's wrong, though. I mean, that you have to really win for you to have home matches. I don't understand it. I mean,
No, that only came up because some of the Caribbean countries were complaining about traveling costs. Because if you have to travel back and forth from Antigua to Dominica and back, it's going to be very expensive. And then going further afield to Bermuda and to Dominican Republic going to be very expensive. So I think CONCACAF understood that and just centralized the location for the game. It's just unfortunate that it's not been played in Dominica, but it's very cost effective.
Okay. All right, then. Well, thank you very much. I am happy that you come, and don't stay too long before you get back here. You have stayed away too long. So I want to thank you very much for joining us, and we want to wish the national team very well. Thank you.
Before I go, let me just wish the guys all the best. I think we have two games, like I mentioned. One is on Saturday at 4 p.m. and the other game is on Tuesday at 11 a.m. in the morning.
11 a.m. My goodness! Wow.
Why is that 11 a.m.?
Yeah, 11 a.m.
That's cool.
That's like a cricket game, man. And
will we be able to see them?
Glenn, look at Dr. Fontaine asking your question.
What's that, Dr. Fontaine?
I was asking whether we'll be able to view the games.
Oh yeah, the game is live on
television. I think it's on Flow. Dr. Fontaine,
yeah. Flow is on Digicel.
Yeah.
Because some games played yesterday.
Yeah, I saw some games there. The games on. Yeah.
The League C game started already, but we are in the higher league, so we're in League B.
So Dominica played what time? Let's get the time again, right?
Dominica plays on Saturday.
At what time?
At 4 p.m.
And next week Tuesday?
Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll take a break now. Thank you very much. Let's take a break now.
The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau. Motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related perils, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you. Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Have business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@portersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
All you where in Roseau, Kimashadis, you can just walk in and order all your chicken parts, wholesale, and even enjoy retail. It's at AC Shillingford, all chicken parts available that you can afford. Fresh breast, and you know breast is best. Shillingford wings have muscle. After you eat it, you can fly. As for Shillingford chicken drumsticks, even swinging stars just order drumsticks from Shillingford. And for those of you who love Risapul, AC Shillingford keeps your belly full. Buy your chicken wholesale at AC Shillingford. From wings to thighs to drums to breasts to backs to necks, it's available. It's always available and it's affordable. Plus, you've got pork feet, ham and turkey, bull foot, chicken nuggets, pepperoni, all those right seasonings to make your kitchen keep on ticking. Buy your wholesale chicken at AC Shillingford. When you think of chicken, think of AC Shillingford. Always fresh.
No, that's what. Hold on. Before Ronald, don't forget your rewards rub from Quick Care Pharmacy. Good for sports men and women. Inflammation. People who have arthritis, you can get it at Quick Care Pharmacy. You wanted to say something, Ronald?
I'll check that tomorrow, Sibo.
Right.
I'll check it because you've been using it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, people are fine. And sportsmen and women should have that. Yeah.
The sports wrap program is very involved. And we try to get persons making their contribution. But there are some significant things happening in Dominica. And I just want to make mention of it very quickly. Over this weekend in the Kalinago territory, Calvin Hodge is going to be recognized. And that is very important. I think that's notable for the people in the Carib territory to recognize the contribution of Calvin Hodge. I hope, and I will discuss that with Mr. Masler, how we can put something together to recognize Calvin and Alec Afanaz in the not too distant future. Dominica recently has been victorious in the men's volleyball regional beach competition in St. Kitts. This is another notable thing that we need to look out for. And in the chess competition, Dominica Chess Federation is going to compete in the Olympiad, the 45th Chess Olympiad in Hungary. We've got a male contingent, we've got a female contingent. Thompson, one of your best friends, Jones Murphy, will be participating. And finally, I was very impressed with the reception and the love that we showed to Fiala 4. Over the last week, there was a lot of love, a lot of reception. I understand the husband doesn't want to leave Dominica.
Well, he got to put up land so he can build a house here. Give him land to build a house.
Is it land enough to build a house?
Huh?
I was asking whether the land is enough to build a house.
Well, I guess somebody of that ill could want something bigger.
That's another topic. That's another topic. And the person who coordinated that visit of Fiala for the Dominica was Brendan Williams.
You sure of that?
Yes, I'm sure of that. I'm very sure of that. He took her to all the different areas, all the different meetings. He coordinated the tour from Portsmouth to Roseau. and he did a very good job. But I was very impressed with the love that we showed. Fielafo did something for Dominica. And Fielafo was so matured in an expression, the way she spoke. It wasn't for her, it was for Dominica. And it was very, very notable. And the love and the reception was exceptional.
Yes, guys. Okay, let's go talk to tennis for a few minutes. By the way, the latest score in on Tiga batting 79 for 1, then 10th over. Guys, tomorrow for the first time you might have an American in the final of the US Open, because there's 2 Americans in one semifinal tomorrow. Tiafoe and what's the other guy name? Taylor Fritz?
Fritz.
Yeah, and then you have the number 1, Yannick Sinner, who's playing Drake, I think, of Britain. That's the other semifinal. Yeah. And the women, you have, what's the name?
Navarro. And Pegula.
Yeah. So hopefully we should have, I would like to see Tiafoe win, though, the black boy. I mean, one new competition that you want to see a black man win. So
there's been an improvement in the American program. Unfortunately, Coco Gauff got eliminated very early.
Too many double faults. She need to
Is not she reached quarterfinal, not very early.
Yeah.
We just fix early is when you go in the first round, you know.
Yeah, but her serve, she need to do some work on her serve because too many double faults. You're not going to win many if you cannot serve. I mean, or even return serve. I mean.
And just put on this 5 more and get a bit stronger. Get a bit stronger too.
Interestingly enough, I saw an article where the kids who came for autographs were blamed for a loss.
You serious?
I saw the game. There was a group of about 12 to 15 kids anticipating that she was going to win. They moved very close to get autographs.
Mm-hmm.
And that set her off, and she complained, and they had to make them move, and it kind of interrupted her flow. Because if you notice, she had started to come into her own. She was catching up, she was behind, but in the last, and then it just fell apart. And I saw an article a couple of days ago where they actually blamed the young children for costing her costing her that particular loss.
Well, Dr. Fontaine, it may be true, but I'm telling you that the problem is a recurring decimal. Her serve. When it comes to her second serve, that second serve is too weak.
But even her first serve, she was double faulting all the time. Too many double faults.
Because Sebastian, because she's not serving well. So she tends to panic. That happened to her. Whether I'll double fault again. She has to go and start hitting more balls. Not 30 balls. Scores of balls you have to hit.
Well, and Djokovic and Alcaraz, they got knocked out in consecutive days, last week. Both of them were knocked out.
Well, Sebastian, I've been warning you, I've been saying so that, look, the men, it's not easy right now. You have to come with your A+, not A++ game. Because the guys are playing well. The training they are going through right now, the rackets. I mean, look, the guys are playing very, very well. Very well. The rackets are different now. The guys are hitting that ball,
We have a caller, hold on.
I'm surprised I haven't seen a win ball burst, Because the way they're hitting that ball, they return.
We have a caller, hold on.
They have new balls all the time.
Good evening.
I know. But listen.
Hold on, Lobby. Hold on. Good evening.
I am another topic. What I know, in Kenya, a lot of female athletes were playing from 2016, around 16 of them were in Kenya.
Okay. Okay, thank you. As the caller mentioned, we heard of the athlete who got burned to death, right, Dr. Fontaine?
Yes.
Yeah, the Olympic athlete, That's unfortunate.
And she took part in the Olympics from Uganda.
And she was burned to death.
It was, the guy bought petrol, her boyfriend.
You think that Gopwell he had?
Sorry? You
think that Gopwell he had or something?
Well, it seems from what I read, it seems there was some dispute over land. She's from Uganda. She bought some land in Kenya so that she could be close to the Kenyan training facilities. She bought this land. It looked like the guy wanted possession of this land that she bought. And they had some conflict because they heard them arguing, right before that. The guy went out, he bought some petrol in a jerry can and doused it with the petrol and set on fire.
My word. That's
just
sad.
But it's really sad, and also it's a long. Some time ago, I narrated the loss of a number of top athletes from Kenya. It's almost like there is a curse associated with the sporting program in Kenya. You know, the number one marathon runner died in mysterious circumstances in a car crash. You have several of the top athletes.
Well, hold on, we'll get you this now. Yeah, go ahead.
Difficulties. And it's really something that, you know, people have been talking about. It's just unfortunate. A lot of accidents, a lot of early deaths, and so on. And that's just the latest of the very, very disturbing trend.
Very disturbing, honestly. Good night, caller. Good evening. Hello? Yeah, very disturbing when you, and the girl is what? 33 years, a young woman, 33 years of age. And burned, that's a terrible way to die. Be burned to death. I mean, Go Puel. You know, I talk about, you remember Chicky Boob had a song, Go Puel? You remember that song, Lobby? Chicky Boob.
Oh, yes, Sebastian, that was on my
We
time.
have another.
But Sebastian,
Good night, Chicky. We have a caller, Lobby. Go Puel, Go Puel. Good night, caller.
Hello, good evening to everybody.
Oh, we were wondering what happened. I thought you were sleeping.
I'm listening. It's good to listen at times. doesn't it?
Okay.
I think the Olympics affected Jagovic and Alcaraz.
You think so?
Probably they were. Yes, I think so. And then Alcaraz, to me, what I understand is that he didn't do his normal practice.
But I find sometimes he's too casual to the way he plays. He takes the thing like a joke, this young kid. Yeah.
Yes, I think maybe that's my view. I think probably that's what happened.
So who do you think is going to win the men's title?
I don't know. I'm looking at
I think Sina is the favorite Sina.
No, well, let her answer. I want to hear her. Who do you
I'm
think?
looking at Fritz, you know.
You mean Taylor
I
Fritz?
would love Tiafo to win, but to me, I'm looking at Fritz.
Taylor Fritz. And in the women's side now, who do you think is going to win?
Huh?
Who do you think is going to win on the women's side?
Well, I think it's going to.
Win on the women's side, on the women.
Well, I don't know. I cannot put my hand on it yet. To me, it's a little open. Although the Navarro not bad at all.
Oh, she hits the ball hard, eh? But I hope they don't take the light so that you can't watch your game. I hope they don't take. No.
Probably I can put my bet on her. You know,
Okay.
she's not bad at
I
all.
hope no load shedding this weekend so you can watch your tennis.
But you know what I find, Sibo?
Mhm.
I always say when you had these three, Jagovic, Nadal,
And Federer?
Federer,
Hmm.
to me, those three players, as though they were consistent, and to me, they had, I don't know how to say it. No, I don't want to say they had stamina. But you know, they dominated for a good while.
Mhm.
But to me, these young players that coming up, yes, they're playing well. But to me, this year, that one win, next year is another person. You understand what I'm saying? To me, it's open. It's like an open thing. You haven't got that tough competition. That's why I say I always miss Serena in the women. Anyway, good night.
Thanks. Guy, quickly, we have to move to cricket because time is running out. First, Bangladesh is coming here in November. They have unearthed a new fast bowler. I don't know if you've seen that. They've beaten Pakistan.
Yeah.
First time in history, 2-0
In
at
Pakistan.
home. At home, Bangladesh. And they're coming to the Caribbean in November. So the West Indies have to be very careful because they have fast bowlers now, Bangladesh. And really it's shocking that Pakistan at home have capitulated like that, Dr. Fountain Lobby, Randa.
Yes, indeed. Very unusual. Very, I was surprised to see, you know. And then the food test starts tomorrow.
Yeah, 6 o'clock tomorrow, Sri Lanka and England.
England, yeah.
Eh?
England leads 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 tomorrow. And Joe Root seems to be at top of his game now, eh? Scoring 100 like you're drinking water or drinking Tabak Zombie or something like that. Joe
Yeah,
Root.
yeah. Sibo, it's interesting in the CPL to see some young players coming to the fore. This player, Joel Anjo, he debuted with a 50, and in his second game he got a 40-something. He seems to be one of, he's only 16 years old. And
Yeah, but if you watch him sometime, night before when he's got 15 of, not sure if you really want these guys that are doing that. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if you want him, this is a young, promising guy. You want to see him playing Test cricket in the next. We don't want him to end up like Donald Brevis, who scored all the runs in the World Cup, and now you don't even hear about him anymore. He's a promising guy. And,
well, they have to manage him, but certainly he's definitely a talent. He's definitely one for the future. I saw him in the under-19 when he played in the under-19, And you could tell from that time that he had something to him, and it's good to see that he continues to flourish. And also Michael Louis opened for debut for 50 as well.
You made 40 last night too. Last night you made 50.
Yeah. So again, I ask the question, why is Kevin Watch not playing?
Good question. Well, my problem is too many overseas players in this thing. By the way, you saw Hetmeyer make some runs last night, eh?
Yeah, 91. He scored 91 in 39 balls. Quite impressive.
And I look at Evan Lewis, right? And I said to myself, this guy, if he really wants to play cricket, he should be playing cricket for West Indies easily. I mean, I remember when I was a selector, we virtually to be begging this guy, and you wonder what the hell is wrong with this guy. The guy can bat. I mean, you remember this guy making 174 against England in a 50-over game. You watch him this week make 100 in the T20. But you just don't know this guy sometimes if he really wants to play.
But I understand it's because he has some problems with somebody in West Indies cricket.
Well, guys always have problems. You remember, guys, they used to say about Dave Cameron. They had problem with Dave Cameron. No, you just don't know. I mean, if you look at Darren Bravo, no, you don't even hear about him anymore. When he should have been playing cricket, you are disrespecting Dave Cameron, talking all kind of foolish, calling him whatever name he called him. Wasted 2 years, and now he's gone. You don't even hear about him anymore. He can't even play. He didn't even get a contract in the CPL. Darren Bravo.
Yeah, but Luis is a class player. I agree with you.
Evan Lewis can bat. I mean, that guy should be playing cricket for West Indies easy with no problem. No problem. If he really wants to play. And I'll say it again, it's up to if he wants to play. That's the problem with this guy. What you're saying, Lobby?
Yes. First of all, I do make players indispensable. These guys are not children. They know what is at stake, what is available. Now, I'm looking at Poran. Poran scored on 97, Sebastian. I think this when he got out. You have, I don't know why these batsmen are not making adjustment, because the bowler was bowling outside the off stump. You have to make adjustments. You have to make adjustments. Too many times I've seen players getting out, You got to make the bowler is thinking, you the batsman have to think at the same time. Because the bowler, he has, to maintain his average, you want to score runs, you have to make the adjustment. Seriously, I mean, that shot Poran played there, that was uncalled for, because the guy was bowling wide, real wide, and asking him, go behind it, go ahead. But you have to make adjustment.
Remember in the World Cup action, had a simple and got him out, remember that in the World Cup?
Yeah, because if you're batting leg, move to the center, before you leave. You have to move, create some movement, put him off.
Sibo made a very important point there. Sibo made a very important point. The amount of foreign players that are participating in the CPL.
I agree with you.
The BCCI used the IPL to positively transform Indian cricket. Since after the IPL, Indian cricket is a different level, a different class before the IPL. It's Cricket West Indies using the CPL to positively transform West Indies cricket. And that is very critical.
But West Indies board don't have control over the CPL.
Who's in control?
The people in control, they gave them a 99-year lease. That was the problem. In India, the BCCI have to, in fact, as we talk about India cricket, right now, guys, they have Indian A played India B. I don't know if you've seen that, Dr.
Yes, I was looking at this because I was looking at it.
So many players after the IPL.
4 different teams playing first-class matches in India right now as we speak. Today is the second day. So you have 4 different, all the players are playing, Shubman Gill is captain on one side.
Indian A, B, C, and D.
Right, exactly. So they're developing their cricket, but we bring a whole set of guys. Come in, look at this guy, Mohamed Abir. You saw him when they lost the game and he got 16 runs.
Yeah.
Now, this is the same guy that was involved in match fixing. You remember him well, guys? Yeah. Mohamed Abir.
Yet still crowds are not showing up, Sibo, to this game.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. The crowds have been very small in Antigua in particular. But they're losing. They have won again.
And also, McCullum has been made the coach of the White Ball for England.
Well, he's coach of all the teams now. He's in total control. Brendan McCullum, total control now. So guys, yes, go ahead, Lobby. We have to come.
Before you, I saw Pollard himself. If you're not ready for cricket, you should just stay home.
Bravo
Pollard
as well. And this guy shouldn't be playing in that. To me, this CPL is like a friend business. Guys bring their friends. Yeah, I'm telling you.
But it's true.
99-year lease.
Yeah, the West Indies board on the Ernest Hill here was the chief executive officer of Cricket West Indies at the time. Well, people say there was all kind of hanky-panky. I don't know about that. In fact, in St. Lucia, you hear hanky-panky as well in the passport thing. He's the minister as well, so we don't want to get into that guy.
But I find it a disgrace that one of the best batsmen in the West Indies right now at the test level cannot get a foot into that league to make some money.
Well, you're right. The West Indies board should look into it. But again, as I said, they have no control.
That is unacceptable.
Yeah, Cricket West Indies have no control over that. They have allowed these people to do as they please. That's what has happened. They have no control. Anyway, guys, our producers tell us we have to get away. So we had a nice program tonight. We had the Football Association president. We had Donny and the guys. We had everything else tonight. So on behalf of Ronald Lander, Dr. Fontaine, Emmanuel Loblack, Lamy on the console, I want to say good night to everybody. We'll be back next week. Have a good night. The Workers program follows right away. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau. Motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related perils, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has